Nearly 40% of people are going to leave a clickbait article within the first few seconds of reading that article if it doesn't capture them or if it doesn't jive with what they know to be true. Okay? So, with that in mind, we are going to unpack a recent article from Axios from February 13th entitled Hyped Weight Loss Drugs Raise Supply, Equity Concerns. Like, on the surface, this isn't something we should be concerned about, right? I mean, we should be concerned about the hype of GLP-1 medications, which is the content of this article if you read it. And we should be concerned about people's access to this medication. And we've had honest and frank dialogue about that on this channel. But that is not what this bull crap article is about. Let's unpack it a little bit. Okay. So this article starts off by identifying what the Lilly call did the other day and saying that there's like 37.3 million people or 11.3% of the population suffering from diabetes. Yeah, like we talked about that. And a US obesity prevalence of about 42%. Wow. Okay, that was covered at the outset of the Lilly call. That's perhaps some information that these people decided to include this or to pump into whatever AI article generator that they chose to use for this article, which is kind of what I think. Because if this came from a person, I kind of like to have a conversation with them. It goes on to talk about there's concern about who should be on these drugs, and that it's costing some people $1,400 a month out of pocket. Now, as I understand it right now, Mounjaro is the king of the hill, and its retail price is about $1,200. They may have been able to find a place where it's $1,400. So if you're paying straight out of pocket, yeah. But we all know that there is a copay card, and that copay card does have coverage for people with and without insurance, provided that they're using the medication on label, right? So right away, you get something that's completely misleading. Talks about how consumer demand has prompted supply issues, which is true. And, people who can afford these medications out of pocket are probably getting them over people who can't, that may have greater needs. That's probably true in a very small number, because I really don't think that there is a large percentage of people who are paying for this drug out of pocket completely anyway. If they are, they're probably moving towards compound medications, which is much smarter. And if you follow this channel, you know all about them. Treatment for diabetes, it goes on to say, have not been proven to work well long-term for weight management and can have complications. Okay. They haven't. But Ozempic and Mounjaro both are advertising actively that they help you lose weight. So we know that. And if we dig a little bit deeper and go into the trials, the studies of these medications, we know that the evidence supports that. So it says how it works. And I love this part about the article because we don't spend a lot of time there, but we just say how it works. The drugs mimic a hormone in the body and regulate appetite and blood sugar levels. Well, semaglutide, Ozempic, and Wegovy mimic a hormone in the body and regulate appetite and blood sugar levels. But Mounjaro mimics two hormones in the body and regulates appetite and blood sugar levels, as well as gastric emptying. But I digress. It goes on to say Ozempic and Mounjaro have been approved by the FDA for treating type 2 diabetes. But drugs like Novo Nordisk's Wegovy and Saxenda, also the maker of Ozempic, which they failed to mention for whatever reason at the beginning of that statement, have been approved for treating obesity. In other words, those are the medications you should be on if you're taking them for obesity. With their ability to help patients lose on average 15% of their body weight with relatively few safety concerns, prescriptions for these drugs have skyrocketed more than 2,000% in 4 years. Data from Komodo shows. Wow, how astounding. A medication that's finally helping people break the obesity code is skyrocketing in popularity. Huh, that's astounding. This is driven in large part by off label prescribing by doctors in response to demand stoked by social media buzz. Social media buzz? How dare you? How dare you use common existing methods of communication to communicate that there is something that is helping to right the ship when it comes to your obesity struggles? How dare you? Just how dare you? Search TikTok or another top site. I love that. Search TikTok or another top site because we're on TikTok. Don't get me started. Honestly, don't get me started. And you'll find a treasure trove of testimonials from patients in bikinis and crop tops showing before and after shots of weight loss success. How dare they? You know, how dare they? Whether you're hearing about it from your friends, you're hearing about it from the news, you're hearing about it from celebrities, that lets patients know that this is something out there and they should be asking for it. And that puts pressure on the health system, said Toby Khan, lead clinical product specialist of Komodo Health. Okay, Tabby, let's talk for a second. If people are learning about a medication that can reverse a chronic illness, why would they not put pressure on their medical providers to help them with it? And let's give Tabby the benefit of the doubt because I honestly think that this article is just trying to be as disingenuous as humanly possible. And I want to say that Tabby is probably a decent person. Axios, you are not a decent organization. What they're saying. So it goes on to say that Isabel Kenyon, CEO and founder of virtual weight loss provider Calibrate, said that they spent the first year in business convincing people that this was even a category, that people should be taking these GLP-1s for weight loss. And now the pendulum is shifted so hard that she's got to tell people, you got to be the right person for this medication now. That may be true. And I don't disagree with that at all. If you've got 5 or 10 pounds of stubborn fat to lose before you get to stick and bones, it's ridiculous that you would be taking this medication. But the percentage of people that constitute that number are astoundingly low. Let's remember what this own article said at the beginning, that 42% of Americans are obese. 42%. Listen, folks, if 42% of us are obese, then of that 42%, 75% of us are desperate. And 75% of the 42% of Americans is not a small number. We're all clamoring for this medication, and those who are looking to lose a few pounds do not constitute even a fraction of a majority of people who are trying to look to use these medications. It's ridiculous. It's 100% ridiculous. Yes, but drugs have also opened up a Pandora's box about how we view obesity as a problem. Celebrities are using this medication, or celebrities rather, are coming out and defending themselves saying, I'm not using medications to lose weight. To be honest with you, Khloe Kardashian, none of us care. Exactly, zero of us care what medication you're using to lose weight, what rigorous weight loss program you're losing. Not many of us have the benefit of having a trainer, a personal trainer to help us lose weight. You're just You're probably a great person. You're probably wonderful, Chloe. You're probably great. But your life is not my life. Okay? It's just not. God bless you. It's not. And if you have a personal trainer that's helping you lose all that weight, great. I've got Mounjaro and I've got insurance coverage and I've got type 2 diabetes. Okay? That's what I got. It might not make for a great television show, but that's what I got. For the longest time, people have seen obesity as a moral failing and an issue of self-discipline. But these drugs highlight, in my mind, that obesity is a disease that needs to be treated, Ritano said. Good for you, buddy. Zach Ritano, CEO of RO, R-O. Let me just spell that for you and Google it, R-O. A digital direct-to-consumer provider which provides weight loss services as well as Wegovy to patients. That's an interesting way to put that. A digital direct-to-consumer provider which provides weight loss services as well as Wegovy. Didn't you cover that when you said weight loss services? I don't know. Prescriptions of Wegovy. I don't know. I just kind of implied that if Zach Ritano, CEO of Row, a digital direct-to-consumer provider, which provides weight loss services, would probably provide prescriptions as well. I don't know. I'm getting off track and frustrated here. But good for you, buddy, if you're viewing obesity as an issue of disease rather than self-discipline or moral failing. Good for you. Between the lines, data shows it's not endocrinologists who are most commonly prescribing these, but far more family practice providers. You know what? Family practice providers are apparently, by your numbers, Axios, dealing with 42% of their patients that are obese. Is it just me, or are they doing their job? Seriously. Zoom in. The question in itself is part of a bigger industry debate. Should patients stay on these drugs long term? Now, to me, that was a hard juke. That was like, how dare anybody who's obese be taking this medication? If you're type 2 diabetic, that's a different thing. But if you're obese, how dare you? And here's some providers who are offering it. But let's talk about long term. Okay. So really you're agreeing at this point on a dime that people who are obese should be taking this. Now you're debating whether they should be taking it long term. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. So if someone is using insulin and they finally get their sugar levels under control, our immediate reaction is not, okay, why can't they go off it? Ritano said. This guy seems like he's talking some sense, and this article writer or AI or whoever it was didn't know how to make sense of it. They have a disease, and this amazing medication is helping them. 100% agree. Yeah. And they might need to take it their whole life like they need to take insulin. It's a game changer, right? Isn't it? But Kenyon said she fundamentally disagrees with that. Okay, so now we're going to bring in the debate. Her company she said, was built around combining behavior change modifications with medication with the goal to get patients off the drugs. Data they've collected since launching has demonstrated patients can be weaned, she said. Again, this is per Axios. Patients don't want to be on an injectable drug forever. Okay. Patients don't, let me just educate you, Axios and Kenyon, Mrs. or Miss Kenyon. I'm sure you're a lovely person, and I'm sure that you and I would have a great conversation together, but your take here sucks. It's terrible. If I were to educate you just a little bit on what it's like to live as an obese person, we would way rather be on a once weekly injectable than be obese. And I'm not trying to downplay at this point lifestyle modifications. No. But I don't think the guy above was trying to downplay that either. He was just saying, listen, I've had a lot of people who have tried lifestyle modifications and it ain't working by itself. Okay. And again, I think this is Axios spinning this article to say These lazy fat people just want to take a drug and have it be over with. No, we've been trying. Not all of us, but most of us. Okay. So, what to watch is kind of the final thing that this article gets into. I'm like white knuckling it because I'm so irritated reading this article, and I'm sorry if I've gone off on some tangents here because I'm worked up. I'm honestly worked up reading this because the level of just stupidity in the way, it's not even stupidity. I think it's intentional. But the way that this article has been used to drive a wedge is just beyond irritating to me. It's so irritating to me. What to watch? Experts say they expect supply shortages of the drugs will likely be solved in short order. Okay, well, that's positive news. A generic for the diabetes drug Victoza is coming on the market this summer. That's great news. Anytime that a drug moves finally um, to generic form once the patents expire is good news. So great. Some people who have been struggling, who haven't been able to get weight loss medication coverage, are finally going to be able to do so. And Lilly's Mounjaro, which is only approved for diabetics, is expected to be approved for weight use and weight management this year. And it goes on to say if the next generation of drugs looks even more effective with fewer side effects and manufactured more cheaply, that's great. And we're living through amazing progress. And that's quoting Dr. Kenyon, who I think earlier it tried to pit against the other doctor. I don't know. At this point, I can't keep straight who it's quoting and who it's not. But you know, at the end of the day, I started this out by saying very few people read beyond the first few seconds of these articles. They read the headlines, that's what they consume, and that's gospel truth. And the gospel truth to most people right now about these weight loss medications, again, that's the farthest they will look into it, is there's hyped, that's the first word we use, weight loss drugs raise supply inequity concerns. No, they don't. I mean, they might at a much deeper level, but not in the way this article pretends to, and it's crap. So my challenge to you is to not give these articles the light of day. When you see them in public, combat them, give them your 2 cents about them. They are complete crap. They're beyond frustrating to read because they are meant to divide us. They're meant to put the diabetic and the non-diabetic in their corners. And we know that if you're diabetic, you're likely overweight. And even though you're overweight, you might not be diabetic, but it's an opportunity to say one of you deserves this more than the other. And the reality is we all do. The non-diabetic deserves to not be diabetic, and the diabetic deserves a reprieve from their disease. And that's what we should all be advocating for. That's what I've been advocating for on this channel. That's what you've been advocating for with me. If you believe in what we're talking about here on this channel, please not only like, comment, and subscribe to these videos, but please become a member. We'd love to have you. $2.99 a month helps me continue to make these videos to justify the time that I put into them. I am a husband, father of 3, and I can't. This is the second time I've done a video and I've said that. I'm a father of 4. I have 4 beautiful children. It takes a lot of effort and time to put into these videos, not to act like that's a huge frustration for me because I'm learning with you, but it does help to support me. So if you're into that, please do. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next stream. I can't wait. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you all have a great and wonderful weekend. Take care.